A verse 256 from Surat al-Baqarah. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. There shall be no compulsion in, acceptance of, the religion. The right course has become clear from the wrong. So whoever disbelieves in Taghut and believes in Allah has grasped the most trustworthy handhold with no break in it. And Allah is hearing and knowing. Interpretation of verse 256 of Surat al-Baqarah. The meaning of this verse is that God, their Creator, did not force His creation to follow a religion. Rather, it was possible for God to subject humans to their will, just as He subjected the heavens and the earth, animals, plants, and inanimate objects. No one can disobey God. God Almighty wants us to worship Him out of love and choice, not to be forced into worship. Whoever turns to Him voluntarily while being able to refrain from it is evidence of love. He sent us messengers who conveyed God's message and informed people of God's oneness, that He is their Creator and Provider, and that all matters are in His hands. They taught people God's commands to follow and implement them, doing what God commands and avoiding what He forbids. They informed them that whoever does so is among the believers who will enter paradise, and that whoever disobeys God's commands has wronged himself and corrupted society through his disbelief, and therefore will be severely punished. After a person learns the path of light, which is faith, and understands that religion is a commitment, when a believer commits to faith, he is responsible for fulfilling a requirement. Faith and implementing what Allah has commanded him to do, and that faith is difficult and requires patience. But the believer is patient because its ultimate goal is paradise. He also knows that the opposite of this path is the path of misguidance, the consequence of which is torment. He must choose. Some people choose faith, light, and the path to paradise. Others are deceived by the world and its pleasures and choose it, which is the easiest path because they do not want to adhere to the rulings of Allah Almighty, and their final abode is hell. They have learned the path of guidance leading to paradise, and they have learned the path of misguidance, which is disbelief, leading to hell. Allah reassures the believers and strengthens their faith so that they do not weaken under the temptation of the disbelieving devils. Allah Almighty confirms that they are on the right path by adhering to the worship of Allah and abandoning tyranny, which is extreme injustice. The greatest injustice is the injustice of the disbeliever to himself, to those around him, and to those who try to turn him away from faith. God strengthens and supports believers through their love for God and their trust in Him. They adhere to God and His religion, trusting in God's love and support for them. We continue with verse 256 of Surat al-Baqarah, where God Almighty reassures them that their faith will not be lost if they adhere to it, because faith in God and His religion is divine strength. God also informs them that He is with them, all-hearing, all-knowing. This meaning reassures the believer and confirms that God is with him and hears him. He also warns him against apostasy, because He hears the whisperings of Satan within him. He knows whether you, the believer, will weaken, or whether your faith and enthusiasm will increase, and whether you will abandon the tyrant who whispers to you, namely Satan, or whether he is one of the disbelievers who seek to weaken your faith and disbelief in God. Verse 257 from Surat Al-Baqarah. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Allah is the ally of those who believe. He brings them out from darknesses into the light. And those who disbelieve, their allies are Taghut. They take them out of the light into darknesses. Those are the companions of the fire, they will abide eternally therein. Interpretation of verse 257 of Surah Al-Baqarah. This verse pressures those who have believed and adhered to God and His religion, that God is their guardian, meaning their supporter. He loves them, answers them, and grants them victory. He is their guardian, based on the proofs of faith He has shown them. Before we believe, He provides us with proof. If we believe, He supports us with victory, and if we fight our enemy, He is with us. After that, His guardianship continues until He rewards us most fully in the hereafter. In the hereafter, He is our guardian with love and generosity, and He bestows upon us countless gifts. God's guardianship over the believer is endless. He, glory be to Him, brings them out of the darkness of ignorance into the light of faith. As for those who disbelieve, they are taken out of the light, which is the light of innate faith, into the darkness of ignorance. Not content with that, they push the believers who have believed toward disbelief, hoping that they will abandon their faith due to their weak faith. Thus, they prepare to turn away from their faith in God and their religion. It was easy for the unbelievers to exploit this and push them into disbelief, so they easily abandoned faith and chose darkness. It is very easy for Satan to whisper to them and lead them into the darkness of disbelief, and disbelief stands between them and the light of faith. These are the people of hellfire, eternally therein, as if hell were their companion, never leaving them, but rather loving their bodies in torment.